So the Amazfit GTS 4 comes in two different sizes. So right here I have the 43mm version as well as the 42mm version. But which size should you get? I got both versions right here, and today I will compare them and show you what they look like on my wrist. We will also talk about some of the pros and cons to help you decide which size is best for you. To start, let's quickly compare the prices of the Amazfit GTS 4 and the GTS 4 Mini. The 43mm version comes in at a price of 200 euros over here in Germany, whereas the GTS 4 Mini only costs half of the money. So you can already get it for around 100 euros. So this is a big difference in price, which means there are some huge differences in the look, quality, and the features that you get. By the way, I will leave all of the purchasing links down in the description. So first, let's look at each watch and how they look like off wrist. Then we will compare and talk about the major differences, and then at the end I will give you my final thoughts on which one is the best one for you. So if I would remove the straps, I will get the solo tracker. Now looking at it from the front, the difference is quite significant. The GTS 4 is 43 by 36.5mm and the GTS 4 Mini is 42 by 36.3mm, which means you get a slightly bigger display. So it's 1.75 inches for the GTS 4 model and 1.65 inches for the GTS 4 Mini. Now, since the GTS 4 is about 1mm thicker, you really feel the difference in bulk. Also, if you look at them from the side, the crowns are a little bit different. The GTS 4 Mini has a polished aluminum crown that is pretty smooth all around, and the GTS 4 has a bit of texture on the side of the crown and it is a little bit bigger. It might look different, but you don't really feel any difference. And in terms of weight, the smaller GTS 4 Mini weighs in at 31 grams, and surprisingly, the larger GTS 4 model weighs in at only 27 grams. But in all honesty, you really don't feel a difference on your wrist during the day or during the night. So before we compare how each watch looks on the wrist, let's take a look at the bands. Both watches come with a 20mm silicone strap that have a quick release function, which means you can quickly swap them out at any time and attach a new band to it when you feel like it. Okay, let's talk about how each of these watches look on my wrist. Just for context, I have a 19cm or a 7.5-inch wrist, which is I think on the larger end of wrist sizes. On my wrist, the Amazfit GTS 4 and the GTS 4 Mini look pretty much the same. I don't have the feeling that either watch is too big or too small on my wrist. So if your wrist is larger than mine, the GTS 4 Mini can look a little small and maybe fall into a fitness tracker size category. But if we flip that around, and if you have a smaller wrist size, I think those two watches would fit just fine. Also, something that I noticed is that none of those watches really bother me during the day or during the night or during my workouts. If it's in the gym, doing some weightlifting, jogging, or other ball sport activities. The GTS 4 and the Mini pretty much disappear if you wear a long sleeve sweater or a jacket, and since they sit pretty flush, you can easily pull your sleeve over them. Next up, let's check out the operating system and the displays. If you press the crown, we get to the app menu, and right here you already see a big difference. You actually see 4 apps on one page on the GTS 4 and only 3 apps on the GTS 4 Mini. The app design looks a little bit different, but that's not what we're talking about today. If we swipe down from the home display, we get to the quick panel, and once again you have a lot more widgets set up right here. On the larger display of the GTS 4, it is 3x3 instead of the 2x3 on the smaller version. If we check out the health apps like your SpO2 and heart rate tracker, they are pretty much the same. Of course, the text and the numbers on the GTS 4 are a little bit larger than on the GTS 4 Mini because of the larger display, but there is the same information displayed on both watches. Another difference in the amount that you see on the display is over in the workout section. Just like with the app menu, you have 4 workouts displayed on one page instead of just 3 that we get on the Mini. But I have to mention right here that the texts are actually a little bit bigger on the Mini compared to the text that we get on the GTS 4. Just by looking at it, I would roughly say it's about 50% bigger. Even though the layout of the settings are not quite the same, you get a little bit more information on the GTS 4, but all of the other widgets like your weather app, Pi score, Alexa show the same amount of information, and just the size of them are a little bit different. Now, in terms of the battery life, the Amazfit GTS 4 has a 300 mAh battery since it has a larger screen than the GTS 4 Mini, it only lasts about 8 days on normal usage, whereas the Amazfit GTS 4 Mini with a smaller display size and battery lasts way longer with up to 15 days on normal usage. Also, both versions come in different colors, more or less. So the GTS 4 comes in the colors Misty White, Infinite Black, Autumn Brown, and Rosebud Pink. The GTS 4 Mini comes in the colors Moonlight White, Midnight Black, Mint Blue, and Flamingo Pink. So the actually only difference is that you get a brown version with the GTS 4 and a blue mint version with the GTS 4 Mini. So if you ask me, it really comes down to your budget and what you need as some of the extra features that you get with the GTS 4. For the extra 100 euros, you can basically only add third-party apps to the watch, which are actually not the best. You can store a few music tracks on the watch with the built-in storage. Plus, you get a built-in speaker, which means you can answer and decline incoming calls right on the watch and talk to your buddies from your wrist. Everything else is more or less the same. Now guys, I hope this one was a little bit helpful. If it was, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. It would really help me out. And I guess with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Peace.